Good Wednesday evening, everybody. Welcome into 615 Preps Live, presented by AccuWorks, the Week 10 edition, and the playoffs are almost here, fellas.
I think we've already hit it, but man, you nailed the intro this year. I jammed to that thing for those 20 seconds. I wish it's probably a good thing the viewers don't see it, but I jam and get down on the camera.
It's catchy. It's catchy.
Yeah. I'm glad I don't have to see that, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chris, and thank you, Cam.
Yeah,
Chris, that was an awfully heavy sigh to begin with.
Well, it's the kind of the thought of we're in the second half of the season now. It kind of makes me a little bit, well, whatever.
You're feeling, you've got the fall blues because you know winter's coming and football's ending.
That's not ending just yet, Scott. Don't wish it away. Elton John.
I'm not wishing it away. I'm trying. That was where I was going with, but doggone, if I'm sitting there trying to help you out, by all means, just blow me out of the water.
I mean, I'm just trying to keep things level here, but all good. All right, lots to talk about tonight. Let's get started. 2 weeks to go in the regular season. A lot of region games on tap in these final 2 weeks. And we had some interesting stuff go on last Friday night. So let's go back and rewind for a second, guys. What stood out to you the most about week 9?
How little I know. I mean,
just close ball games is what I'll go with.
Well, that's kind of where I was. Just when you think you've got a handle on stuff, and you know what a team is doing or what is capable of, they surprise you. And you realize that this is high school ball, y'all. Nothing's predictable.
Yeah, we try our best, and we all kind of pat each other on the back as far as we give each other slack, but at the end of the day, there's not a media outlet that picks as many games as we do in the Middle Tennessee area. And there's definitely not one that picks that many games as accurately as we do. And that's a testament to all the guys that on our staff, even our interns, have had really good years picking the games. And it's so hard to keep up with so many games and so many teams and try to get, 75, 80% of those right. But we've been able to do it so far. And, just the uncertainty. Close games, Rockville finding a way to win a must-win to get in the postseason. Potentially last week against Tullahoma, and Double OT was a takeaway for me. And they performed well in some other games. That is the reason why they got the spotlight this week against Riverdale, is because of their performance against a team like Oakland, where they threw the ball for almost 300 yards on Oakland, and done some things against Oakland that nobody's done this year. So. Intriguing matchup as a spotlight game for sure.
Yeah, it'll be the first time that we have Rockville in a spotlight game, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you're right.
Haven't been out there in a few years too, so I mean, it's going to be interesting to see that place go out there for Friday night. That's where I'll be for their game against Riverdale. Big region game for seeding there for both teams. And that's kind of the theme of the last 2 weeks, is these region games are going to be a lot for seeding, some for region championships, and then there will be a handful that will be elimination games where one team's going to leave very disappointed with their season pretty much over.
Yeah, Stratford, Whites Creek is right there in that realm of possibility this week. I believe if Stratford wins, they will be in, and if Whites Creek wins, Whites Creek will be in. So.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I'm not a fan of these small regions, these 4 or 5 team regions where you win the right game and you're in the playoffs, but it does kind of create that intriguing game in the late season where it's a lot of drama.
It does, and you avoid some things that we were talking about right before we came on the air. Y'all tasked me with doing the brackets. And there's a region out in West Tennessee that there's like 5 or 6 teams in an 8-team region that are 3-2 in the region right now. How am I supposed to do all those tiebreakers? You can't. So you kind of have to piece it together the best you can. You don't really have that big of an issue when there's only 5 teams. So But that is unfortunately part of the issues that you run into when you have too many classifications.
Yeah, it does make the math a little bit easier with the smaller regions, but at the same time, I kind of enjoy the chaos of what's out there in West Tennessee. I like to see how that plays out, and this week will obviously go a long way towards that. Joe, the rankings really didn't change much, if at all, this week, did they?
No, I don't think they changed at all. Maybe couple teams off. The rest of the teams that did play last week all took care of business. So pretty simple stuff for large class. Oakland still at the top until somebody dethrones them.
Well, everybody's got their bye done with now, right?
Mostly. There are a couple of stragglers the last 2 weeks, but nearly 95% of them are done.
So
Narnia's at the beach this week.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're one of them.
Yeah, pretty soon we're gonna. Yeah, Cam's gonna forget where he came from, and
yeah. Yeah, let's talk about Brentwood Academy for a second. I mean, they put themselves in a tremendous spot entering the last couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah, I'm going to speak on behalf of Coach Wade, and he's going to say, Chris, hush. but yeah, they are a team that's definitely flown under the radar. Extremely talented football team, and unfortunately, we were all robbed of seeing them in Baylor earlier in the season. But maybe it'll work out, and we can see it in Chattanooga. Speaking
of Baylor, Answorth's got them this week, and they're going to try to pull another shocker.
Yeah, they already got the one over McCauley. This time, though, they are down at Baylor. We'll get to it in a little bit, but what teams can do on Answorth this year is run the ball, and who does Baylor have?
Yeah. Right?
David Gabriel Georges.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's going to be a tall task, but can't count out the Tigers. I mean, they've done it once. However, I mean, that BA loss that they had was it was shocking. I mean, I think a lot of us picked BA in that game, but 37-7 is shocking. And this week they go against the number one team in the state.
It just got away from them. Scott, I know you were at the game and you can attest to this, but it was a competitive game early. And then I think, there were some unfortunate circumstances there that kind of went against Answorth, and Brentwood Academy capitalized on every single mistake, which is what good teams do. But it kind of got stretched out early, and then once Answorth's down multiple scores early in the game, that takes them away from what they want to do. They're a run-first football team for sure.
It was quicksand is what it was. I mean, the more they struggled, the deeper they sank. It was just, as you said, it was a penalty here, a turnover there, and Brentwood Academy took advantage of every single one of them.
We'll flip over to medium class, where it's Page on top again. FRA, BGA, Beach, Procone round at the top 5.
Yeah, saw Page last week. They struggled in the first half against Indy, but once they got it together, man, they they look like the 5A favorite. I mean, that running game of James Pierre and Isaac Odie is good. Cameron Crucy at quarterback, he's legit, and then they got a plethora of wide receivers that can make plays. So Page looked really good. Beach looks really good, and if everything lines up, we get that matchup in the quarters.
We deserve that matchup in the quarters.
We honestly deserve it in the day after Thanksgiving, but
yeah. We can't always get what we want.
When Procone's just kind of, they went through their gauntlet early in the year. They got that big win over Springfield. Now they're in cruise control at the moment. But
they're certainly better off for that first half of the season, even though the results probably were some lumps. They're rolling now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hopefully they avoid the dreaded injury bug and take these 2 weeks to kind of get fresh.
Yeah. We'll talk small class for a moment, where it's Nashville Christian 1, East Robertson 2, Gordonsville 3, Friendship Christian at 4, East Nashville at 5 this week.
Yeah, we'll get East Robertson and East Nashville week 11. That'll be just a whale of a game. Friendship Christian, Nashville Christian's also week 11. That'll be, if there's a team that could give Nashville Christian some issues this year, maybe it's Friendship Christian. And then Gordonsville, they're just kind of chugging along, just doing what they've done all year. Really good defensively, and they'll run the ball down your throat.
Yep.
All right, let's turn it over to our 3 stars of the week. As a reminder, the 3 stars of the week voting now open at 615preps.com. We will get this week's finalists in just a moment. First, the honorees from week number 8 voting, where Maplewood's Micah Graves got first star honors, so congratulations to Micah. FRA's Mike Castle, second star, and Cannon County's Eli Garrett, our 3rd star of the week for week 8.
And, Chris, when we first talked about doing the 3 stars, I wasn't 100% sold. You sold me on, but I tell you what, I love it because it allows us to spotlight so many more players that deserving.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and we're not going to put out exactly what we're thinking, but we're thinking about potentially doing some kind of prize, I guess you would call it, for the 3 stars potentially next year. We're going to reach out to some coaches in the area and make sure that they think that it would be a good idea and would be okay with doing it. And if we get a full approval on it, it's going to be another cool little thing that we're going to throw at you next season.
Yeah, it's definitely trying to keep things fresh and find a way to put these kids in a good light when they're deserving of it, and these guys are. Let's look at the finalists for week number 9 and how they got there. Sambello of Stewart's Creek, 167 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns on 14 carries in their win over Knoxville Webb. Eagleville's Benton Fox, 8 of 10 passing, 153 yards, 3 touchdowns. Had 4 carries for 29 yards and 2 more scores. They routed Huntland 44-7. Rockville's Jonathan Hamby, 18 of 26 passing, 317 yards, 5 touchdowns in that 37-36 win over Tullahoma.
School record for Hamby there.
His opponent this week, Evan Hampton from Riverdale, 10 of 18 passing, 154 yards, 5 touchdowns in their 37-0 shutout win over Siegel. Mount Juliet's Josh Kidd, 13 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble return for a touchdown in their shutout over Wilson Central, 30-0.
13 tackles, not 113, right?
No, I said 13.
Okay, I sounded like 113. I was like,
I
whoa.
heard 113 too.
Wilson Central probably thought it was 113 tackles the way he was all over the field. And our weekly Caden Marable stat line, 13 of 15 passing for 290 yards and 4 touchdowns, 2 carries, 23 yards and a score. They beat JP2 56-14. Beach's Caden Powell, 5 of 7 passing for 94 yards, 20 carries, 238 yards, and 3 touchdowns as they routed Gallatin 62-29. Hendersonville's Tate Rumney in that TV game, 305 yards rushing and a touchdown on 39 carries in their win over Station Camp in overtime. And then Cannon County's Jaden Shannon, 29 carries, 334 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception as they beat Warren County 50-27. And those are the finalists for week number 9. Scott, let's talk about that offensive line at Beach, which is our line of the week.
Yeah, I mean, 494 yards rushing. You put up those kind of numbers, you're going to be line of the week. 8 TDs, all rushing touchdowns. That Beach offensive line just absolutely dominated in that win over Gallatin, and for that reason. They had over 600 yards in total offense, and for that reason, they are the line of the week.
Yep. So congratulations to the Buccaneer offense and their 3 stars of the week from week number 8, Micah Graves, Mike Hassel, and Eli Garrett from Cannon County. All deserving this week, and make sure you go vote 615preps.com for the finalist from week number 9. We will announce those winners next week on this show. Real quickly about AccuWorks, which is a full-service property damage restoration company that offers around-the-clock emergency service 24 hours a day, 365 days a year for the past 20 years in Middle Tennessee. Jeff Stockton and his team of industry veterans specialize in restoration projects for your home or business, fire restoration, smoke cleaning, water damage and mold remediation, storm damage restoration, general contracting, and much more. Our commitment is to assess each situation quickly and correctly to provide you the most efficient and complete restoration plan that meets your specific needs. AccuWorks performs emergency service and restoration for property owners across Middle Tennessee. With locations in Nashville and near you, our professional staff are minutes away from helping with your property damage emergency. Quality work, professionalism, and integrity have been the backbone of our company since 2006. Call us now at 615-292-2009 or toll free at 888-779-2228 or visit our website at AccuWorks.com.
See the doggy?
Welcome back, Scott.
Yeah.
No, we can't see the doggy.
No. Yeah.
Sorry about that. My mute didn't take.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we'll learn from next time.
Yeah.
Speaking of apologies, though, Scott, it's that time again. And I had to make an on-field apology for the first time this year, and we'll get to that in a minute. But, Joe, I'm going to let you lead off tonight.
Okay. Well, I could apologize to Nolensville. I could apologize to Davidson Academy. I could apologize to Hendersonville. I could apologize to Stewart's Creek. I could also apologize to Lipscomb Academy. I could apologize to Mount Juliet. I could apologize to Narnia and Rockvale and Westmoreland. I'm not apologizing to any of you because you all let me down. I didn't pick wrong. You let me down. So I apologize to absolutely nobody. Do better. That's my apology.
I notice now you've taken my tact for this week, so I guess the roles are reversed.
He looks like a defeated man already.
I'm working on like 6 different things right now, so I had to get that out of the way.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Nolensville, Cam, you were out there, and that was your turn to apologize.
Guys, Cam with 615 Preps here with Oliver Bender. Nolensville with a big win. Proved almost all of us wrong. I think Isaac and KJ picked you guys, but the rest of us definitely got this one wrong. You guys come out from the opening jump and took control of the game and definitely proved that you were the better team tonight. So on behalf of the rest of us at 615 Preps, I apologize, Oliver, and best of luck going forward. Thank you.
That was, we'll call that efficient.
Yeah, and shout out to Oliver. He apologized to all of us for some Nolensville students and maybe a teammate or two that were in our DMs and in our comment sections and said that was unnecessary.
He's a good kid.
Saw a move.
Yes.
He's been a standout since he was, a sophomore. So
Yeah.
excited to see where he ends up. Somebody's going to get a really good receiver.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good pastor did the thing at Grace last week, and yeah, I had to apologize about it.
All right, Chase, let's talk about it. You guys come on the road and get a big win 24-7 for Grace Christian. We all got this thing wrong. It wasn't just me, but I'm the one that's going to make the apology tonight. So we got it wrong. It's all good, man. It's all good. On behalf of all of us 615 Preps, congratulations, man. We're sorry. Thank you, man. That's an awesome win. The way this team played tonight, especially in the second half, controlling the ball, how important was it to have that ball control for you guys tonight?
Yes, sir. Our game plan, they couldn't match our physicality, and it's really built what we did all summer. Camp Line High, that's a rough place, but it built toughness in our team. Just toughness.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Wait. Just wait
What?
a doggone minute.
What?
I catch heck. And I get 2 guys who get on there and brag on the team and how well they're doing and do an interview at the same time as their apology. How come I get called out?
Do better.
Crickets.
Joe, you can answer that. You're the chief of content.
I just, hey, you folks, you see how this works? Crapped on.
Scott, shall I call the judge back?
No, is he a hanging judge?
He might be.
No. Okay.
Depends on what kind of mood he's in. Now the floor is yours.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to apologize to all you other guys for Joe because he should have apologized. And he's not perfect. Okay, just know he's not perfect. But my apologies, White House. I apologize. I got that wrong. You guys showed out, took control of the game in the second half, got turnovers, and just played your butts off. We knew you were an athletic team, but you guys played incredibly well, defeated Liberty Creek. I was the only one who picked against you, and I'm stupid. I'm a moron, and I apologize. I mean, there's nothing else to say. That was just dumb, and I apologize. So White House, great job. Good luck the rest of the way.
Also, no more whispering. That's not creepy at all.
It didn't come through at all.
No, it came through. It just don't do that. Not the time of night for that. All right, let's get into week 10. Compared to week 11, not necessarily the best week for matchups, but there's still some good ones on the docket. Let's go ahead and just start with Antioch and Clarksville, one of the better ones out there, with the Bears going up to Montgomery County to try to nail down a region title.
Yeah, and I mean, it's if this game was at Antioch, probably would be our spotlight game. It's just a matter of none of us can really get out there, but we will have Connor out there, so that'll be good.
You heard that, Antioch? Your king is coming.
It's just a matter of can Clarksville's defense slow down Andre Adams and new Arkansas State commitment Brandon Galladay. Hard to imagine that. Admittedly.
Yeah, huge congratulations to Brandon, by the way. That's a kid that's worked his tail off. He deserves more offers than what he's gotten, and getting a shot at the D1 level, that's a huge deal for him. And, Clarksville's going to have to try to do something that nobody's been able to do yet. Slow down Antioch. And it's either slow them down or outscore them, and nobody's been able to do either one yet. Clarksville's offense, it could be the recipe to try to slow Antioch down just because of their unorthodox rushing attack. If they can control the clock, keep the game in the 20s potentially, that's the recipe for Clarksville to win the game. But good luck.
Well, yeah, you talked about the formula. Isaac Shelby's formula has always been tough defense, run the ball down your throat. They average 234 rushing yards and over 3 rushing touchdowns a game, only 9.6 passing attempts. So that's going to be their game, trying to slow down the Antioch Bears and Andre Adams. They have 3-headed monster running back. So and defensively they really get out after the quarterback. They have 18 sacks on the season. That's resulted in 13 interceptions. So I expect them to come after Andre Adams, but that's going to be a tall task because he's elusive, scary elusive, really, and throws very, very well on the run.
Yeah, we've talked about this several times. You got to pick one. Do you want him to have to sit in the pocket and try to pick you apart, or do you want him to be out on the run and try to contain him and guard guys down the field at the same time? It's a lose-lose.
Yeah, I mean, Antioch going for 9-0. I mean, they have not been in this spot in a long time.
I think a win secures the first region title since 2011. I think that's right.
I believe that's correct, actually. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Who has more pressure in this game? Antioch or Clarksville?
Antioch for sure.
Antioch, because nobody expects Clarksville to win.
Yep. Their win over FRA done a ton of good for that program, but nobody's going to be overlooking them now.
Yep. Clarksville owns the tiebreaker over Rossview. So the possibility of them not getting, with Cane Ridge is the other game that they have, the possibility of them get knocked out of a home playoff game. It's not impossible, but it's not likely. I think that Antioch's got more of the pressure on them than Clarksville does. At
Yeah,
this time.
and just to clarify on scenarios, Antioch loses this game, they can still win the region with a win over a Clarksville loss and a win over Rossview next week. I believe. I think that's right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, BGA and Good Pasture. Good Pasture, that big win at Grace last week, but now they get BGA coming into their place.
Yeah, congrats on the big win. Now you get to face a BGA team that's on a warpath.
Yeah, but one thing about it, Good Pasture has played extremely well at home. They have a method. They're like we talked about. They're going to do the same thing every week, and if you stop it, good for you. If you don't stop it, it's going to be a long night because you're going to have to stop, 25 to 30 rush attempts, up the middle. You're going to have to make sure you keep an eye on Slim Lavelle outside. You're going to have to watch the quarterback because Chase Angel can run if he needs to. They got a good little setup too, and they've had an outstanding year in Coach Turner's first year back. BGA is just a little bit of a different animal on offense. I'm not sure if Good Pasture can slow them down. I do think Good Pasture can hang around though.
Well, I know Coach Turner loves the underdog role. I know he posted our picks last week and virtually said so. So he's going to get to be that way again. I mean, BGA is just we haven't seen a team that can light up a scoreboard like BGA has this year. We really haven't seen that in a while. The one team that beat BGA, FRA, beat these Cougars 2 weeks ago, 42-7. So,
and how did they do it in the second half? With a mobile quarterback and running the football.
Yep. So, Cade Marables eclipsed 2,000 yards. He's got 31 touchdowns, only 2 picks, and that's an amazing stat right there. For as much as he's thrown, 2 interceptions.
I haven't looked at his stats in a couple weeks, but the last time I looked, and this might still be true, he's got more touchdown passes than incompletions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, but you're right, Cam. This Good Pasture team, they can run the ball. They run it well. Caden Stroud, since he's joined, has been, he's been the bell cow back. And the growth of Chase Angel and Slim Lavelle from last year to this year has been nothing short of astounding. So if there is a team that has the formula, it's Good Pasture. Whether it's something they can do, that's something else.
Now we're going to concerts.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Matt,
enjoy.
I will be there Friday. I'm expecting food.
Better be good seats.
Well, you may be there.
I may not have a choice.
Brentwood at Independence. Yeah. Brentwood goes to Independence, and the Bruins going to try to stay unbeaten in region play and set up the Battle of the Woods for all the marbles next week.
Yeah, this Bruins team has been kind of Jekyll and Hyde on offense, but their defense is pretty solid now, especially in the passing game. It's going to be a contrast in styles, but I tell you what, Independence showed me something last week. They stunned Rutherville for a half last week. I mean, it was quiet. They held them without an offensive score, dominated the line of scrimmage. I think Joe was the one that really kind of pointed that out. They're really dominating the line of scrimmage tonight. And for somebody to do that to Page is saying something. As long as they show good patience, control the short pass game, don't get too greedy, I think this is a very, very tough game. And right now, it really could be just a matter of who turns the ball over least or who makes the least mistakes.
Yeah, really, really tough matchup right here. And you mentioned how they played a good first half against Page. You look at the week before, Chris, I think week before or 2 weeks before when you were seeing them against Ravenwood, they gave Ravenwood all they wanted for the first half too. I believe that didn't they actually have a lead at halftime? Maybe
They shut out Ravenwood in the first half. It was up 7-0 at halftime. And the thing I'm seeing with Independence is it's a very good first half team. I just don't know that they have the finishers yet. They're coming, and they're going to be a very dangerous team in 26 and beyond, but they got to figure out how to finish games.
Yep, they got to finish. They got to learn how to finish games. But as you said, as I've said a couple other times, they're a team that just screams next year. I know people don't want to look at that. They, potentially looking at the brackets, a first round game against Antioch. That's a game that Coach Broom does not want to see Independence. I promise you.
No.
And I really think that they know that they are susceptible to a second half collapse when talking about Independence because, and Joe, you can contradict me if you think otherwise, but going for it in their own territory on 4th and short, not wanting to give the ball back to Page when Page had tied it up, I think that spoke volumes to how they feel about second half.
Maybe. I also thought it was a situation where you have a big old quarterback and you thought a quarterback sneak right up the middle would have been easy, but Page sniffed it out from the beginning. So
yeah, I wouldn't call it a second half collapse so much. It's just that they're trying to put themselves in the best position with what they have right now. And again, we're talking about next year and beyond. That's coming. It's just get ready for that. Yeah. And could they stun somebody in the postseason? Yeah, they could be a very dangerous opponent in the first round. But we'll see. I mean, they still have a little bit more growing to do.
I do want to add for our uniform expert, Tyson, can we get a logo or something on the side of that helmet and it will it's going to pop. Yeah. We just need something on that dark navy helmet.
Just a little something. Almost there.
That's something I've noticed a lot this year, Chris. There's a lot of teams going without logos this year.
Yeah, and in some instances it could be a good look. Others, not so much. No, it works for Brentwood. Yeah,
it works. It works in traditional setups. For instance, you get a plain helmet, it looks okay. You get a helmet and they put a stripe down the middle of it, it needs a logo at that point. There's not many of them out there with a stripe down the middle that looks good without a logo.
CPA hits the road. They're going to head east to Knoxville Catholic, looking to try to improve their region record.
This is another one of those games where you look at the brutal schedule that CPA played, and not saying that NBA and Knox Catholic are gimmies because they're not at all. But if you're looking for wins on that record, on that schedule, this is a game you can win. I think they match up really well with Knox Catholic, although Knox Catholic did keep it close with McCauley for about a half before, McCauley did in the second half. But thinking Rawls Patterson has a pretty big game here.
Bingo, Jack. We said that was one of the advantages a couple weeks ago for Ainsworth against Knox Catholic. And E.J. Gibson had a monster game. I think he went over 200 yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns. That similar type performance can definitely happen this week for Rawls Patterson. Knox Catholic, extremely talented on the back end. Don't let those guys make a play and ruin the game. Run the football. Don't turn the ball over, and you're going to be okay.
Yeah, and important, too, for CPA, as a win in this game will get them one step closer to a home playoff game. If they lose to Knox Catholic, they can almost forget it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and depending on how it turns out next week, CPA loses this game, and they could end up on the road at a potentially, a team that they don't want to be on the road in the first round against.
Well, I'm looking at Knox Catholic, and I'm seeing a team that, at the very beginning was very promising. They took down Riverdale, Anderson County, Lipscomb, started 3-0, but since then they've only gone 1-3. The only win they've got is coming against 4-4 Silverdale. They managed 38 total points in their 3 losses, or 12.6 points per game. They've been going with the hot hand lately with Matt Bartholomew, who swaps between passing and running. So they're going to have to find a way to get the ball in Tyreek King's hands. But lately, teams have been taking him away as much as they possibly can. I think CPA should win this game. Nobody mitigates a team's strength better than Ingle Martin. I just think that this is, he set the schedule up to sharpen them for November. We're going to see how it works.
Yeah, I mean, this has historically been a late season November playoff team, and now we're going to find that out to the extreme because that schedule is exactly that, extreme.
Yeah.
Answorth, speaking of their brethren from right down the road, are headed to Baylor.
Whew. Yeah, it's going to have.
They go 2-0 against Chattanooga this year. They'll be basically Vanderbilt against the state of Alabama. Going down to Baylor is a different ball game, though. And like we said earlier, you struggled against BA to stop the run game, and now you're going against the best running back in the state, one of the maybe top 2 running backs in the country for next year's class. It's going to be a tall task.
It's going to be an extremely tall task. I think the only way that Answorth is able to win this football game is if they get a couple turnovers. They've got to have some of those big momentum swinging plays that they did get against McCauley. Going back and watching that game, they did force a couple turnovers. And that's step one. Step two is controlling the line of scrimmage. EJ Gibson's got to have a good game. I don't think Answorth is going to be. I don't think they're talented enough on the outside to throw the ball 25, 30 times in this game and win. They're going to have to run first to set up the pass. That's what they do well. So if they can execute in this game, they can hang around and be right there at the end. But they're going to need a play or two, one or two of those swing plays that really change the momentum and the trajectory of the football game to pull off the upset here. But yeah, David Gabriel Georges is a hell of a running back, eh?
This is yeah, you got 2 of the best running backs in Tennessee facing off in this one. EJ Gibson. Then you got the wreck from Quebec and Gabriel Georges. 6 foot 205 pounds of pain coming at you. I rewatched the game the other day. You had one thing, Answorth's going to have to tackle him, and they're going to have to tackle well, and they're going to have to tackle him low because I watched people try to tackle this guy up top. He just shrugs it off. I mean, he's just another level at in just strength wise, and him being able to do that allows Briggs Cherry to be able to sit back and throw the ball, and he can absolutely pick you apart. But Answorth defense has shown resiliency other than the BA game where offensively they really made mistake after mistake and put their defense in bad position and then let Larry Sanders run loose. They can't do that here. As Cam said, they win the trenches, keep the chains moving, tackle well, and try to keep Baylor, behind the chains as much as possible is going to be their best hope.
Yeah, I believe this is a de facto region championship here, correct?
It is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Scott, the wreck from Quebec, how long have you been holding on to that one?
About a day and a half since I wrote it.
Okay.
What? I was
some
watching
some Georgia Tech fan just got excited for no reason.
Yes.
Spoilers. He ain't going there.
No. I perceive that he's likely going to have red on his uniform in 1 of 2 ways, probably.
His colors probably ain't going to change.
1 of 3 ways, Joe. Okay.
Fair enough.
Sorry, I should have taken the over.
Yep.
Don't expect him to stay in SEC country.
Yeah.
No, his colors are going to stay the same if I had to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Staying in Division II, but heading to AA, where FRA is going to travel to Grace Christian. And Grace Christian's unbeaten streak came to an end last week, and now here comes FRA.
Yeah, you got a Grace Christian team that's looking for a bounce back. Oh, sorry, you're taking on an FRA team that had a week to stew on what happened at Antioch.
I literally had that written down word for word, Joe.
And, defensively, they're not happy about how – they gave up 64 points. When's the last time a Justin Geisinger team gave up 64 points?
You're talking about running gassers.
Mike Castle's not happy. Amari Sanders, I can bet you, is not happy. They may take some frustrations out on GCA.
Well, the big thing is we talk about how frustrated they are. Guys, this has not been simmering for 6 days. This has been simmering for 2 weeks. So not only are they ticked off and ready to hit somebody in a different color jersey, guys, they're the main thing that Geisinger said after the game at Antioch was we have to get healthy.
Yep.
They have to be more healthy right now than they were after that Antioch game. They had a bye week.
That game, they could afford to sit some guys out too, for the simple fact it's not a region game. This game matters. They're still trying to get first in that region.
Yep.
And unfortunately for GCA, they're in the way of them this week. And I think GCA defensively, they have what it takes to, make this a close game, kind of looking at what the other teams did. But offensively, they just got to find some consistency because they did not have that last week against Goodpasture and turned the ball over way too many times.
Yep.
Well, and Goodpasture had so much pressure on him that Knox Lambert's had just barely 100 yards. I think he had 102 yards passing last week.
And think of it this way: it was a 64-62 game, and FRA turned the ball over 3 times.
They turned the ball over 3 times, but I think what you're about to get at, Scott, was, the battle up front is where it starts for Grace Christian. And, we talk about Amari Sanders. We talk about Mike Castle. What's his first name? Keelan Neal up front. He was a problem for Antioch. He was a game wrecker. They were having to roll Andre away from him on every play because they could not keep him from getting the edge. And he is a physical freak. I mean, the kid's like 6'3", 6'4", 270-ish pounds, and he is solid and can run. And he's got a mean streak. Yeah. Grace Christian, that's where it starts. You have to keep Keelan Neal off of Knox Lambert, and then you cannot turn the ball over. You've got to play almost perfect in this game to win.
He'll be at Vegas this weekend, and if they're smart, they offer him as soon as he steps on campus.
I expect FRA to roll the corners up tight, and I expect because I think that Grace is going to have to come out with a short passing game to mitigate that pass rush. If they do, FRA will bring their people up tight. If they can get to Knox, then it's going to create havoc. If they had a better running game, I would, you would see more of that. But they don't show that they run the ball. It's not in their wheelhouse, or they just don't do
it. FRA wins the region title with a win in this game as well. They will clinch the 1 seed should they come out with a victory in this one. Real quick, I do want to mention, appreciate the comment, Chuck. Cookville MJ will have picks for that tomorrow morning. That is not one of our top 10 games this week.
We can briefly talk about it. That's a very intriguing game. Cookville coming off of a huge win over Farragut. Cookville's a team that's kind of found their identity over the last few weeks. Same thing goes for Mount Juliet. Mount Juliet's been able to put up some points the last few weeks, which at the early part of the season they couldn't put up any. This is a playoff spot game. The winner's going to get 4th in that region. The loser is going to be stuck at home. And, Coach Perry's playing a lot of young guys, which has paid dividends to this point. It's going to pay even more dividends next season, and I think he understands that. This game, I believe, is at Mount Juliet, which definitely is an advantage. It's one of the best views for a home game in the area. But both of these teams, the goal is the same for both teams: control the line of scrimmage. Whichever team does that wins the football game.
Yep. Yeah, we'll have picks for those tomorrow. They'll be dropping around 11 o'clock for the rest of the schedule, other than the top 10 that we're going to talk about tonight. And next on our list is in that region, Lebanon and Gallatin.
Yeah, these Blue Devils, they proved last week they were up for the fight. They lost that close one at Green Hill. Their defense is just very, very good. And it kept them in the race and kept them undefeated while Azita was injured, their bell cow running back. They've got to get Austin Harrison going early, and they can't afford to get behind or get careless with the ball. but the Green Wave definitely lost part of their engine when Jackson Straup went down. They reduced their passing output reduced a little bit, but they had like 12 passing TDs before he went down and 2 since. I mean, it's just a difference in, but it did mean that Keyshawn Barstow had to step up, and it takes a good wide receiver out of the mix to do that. You lose his abilities on the outside by putting him back at quarterback. But I think this game is really going to hinge on the offensive line at Lebanon and the defensive line for Gallatin. And can Preston Mooney get to Harrison? And can Andy Brock can he lock down the line and get Azita down?
Before we go on with this, because I have multiple people asking, just quick thoughts on Briarcrest Lipscomb Academy and BA Father Ryan.
BA Father Ryan, nobody's been able to slow BA down so far. Don't think that changes. And then you said Briarcrest Lipscomb. Briarcrest has played looking at so when we see teams outside of our area, we look at their games. They've played a extremely tough schedule, and they've competed very, very well. And they have a running back. I don't know if you guys know this or not, Joe. You definitely do, but I don't know if these other guys know this or not. They have a running back. I believe his first name is Darius. His last name is McFadden. His daddy just happens to be Darren that played for Arkansas, and he's a monster. Mm-hmm. He can absolutely fly. He's a great running back. I believe he's a sophomore. Mm-hmm. So Briarcrest is going to have a very, very good team going forward, and it's going to be a tough matchup for Lipscomb.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think Briarcrest and Briarcrest has played well all year.
They gave BA a game.
They did give BA a game. And speaking of BA, I think BA has this game. Father Ryan's just struggling this year, and they've had injuries in key positions. It's just been unfortunate. They've got, it's a new coaching staff. BA is putting everything together now. They've kind of gone through a little bit of a growth issue. Paul Wade's got that team clicking right now, and the problem is that the teams they're facing right now are just one more person standing on the railroad tracks.
Yep. Scott, I know you were kind of finishing up on Lebanon and Gallatin real quick. I'll let you do that first.
Oh, I was just going to say it. The main thing is not to allow for Gallatin is not to allow Azita yards after contact, because that is where he excels.
It's not to allow 500 yards rushing. That's what it is. That's what's going to determine this football game. It's that simple. I think this is going to be a very, very tight football game. Gallatin has to find a way to slow down the run game. If they do, they have a really good chance to win this football game, because I do think they're a little bit more dynamic on the offensive side of the ball than Lebanon. Lebanon is a very traditional style offense. They want to run it right at you and play good, solid defense. If Gallatin's able to slow down the run, I think they can win the football game. If Gallatin gives up, let's just say if Gallatin gives up 300 yards rushing, they're going to lose the football game.
All right. Maplewood at Westmoreland. One that a lot of people asked about.
Tough one to read.
The Panthers is causing a lot of stress for teams in 5-3A. I mean, their defeat of Whites Creek last week served notice that Chris Simpson's team can play with anyone. I mean, they're doing really, really well. Jayon Washington, very athletic quarterback. He can burn you through the air on the ground. He's gotten better lately at protecting the ball, but the one that needs Chris, you mentioned him earlier. The key to this game might be Micah Graves. His ability on, he's a threat on both sides of the ball and on special teams. You look at Westmoreland on the other side, you've got a team that hasn't defeated the team with a winning record this year. And this is going to be a tough matchup, really, for both teams. But they have a running back. He's 200-pound fullback, middle linebacker, Grant Lilly. He is a load to bring down. And they use him on the short runs, and Braxton Cook hits on the big plays. Xander Hodge at the quarterback position. they're still rebuilding from where they lost a ton last year. I think it's a really good game, and these teams are very, very equally matched.
What stands out to me about what Whites Creek did, or no, sorry, what Maplewood did to Whites Creek a couple weeks ago or last week was defensively. I mean, it was a low-scoring game. It wasn't this high-scoring back-and-forth game. They shut them down, and that's a good offense with Barnes and Holland. They shut them down, and that's how they won that game. They caused all sorts of chaos in this region now. But Westmoreland went to Stratford and really had no issues. I thought maybe Stratford had some guys that could give them a problem, and I got that wrong. But Westmoreland, admittedly, playing a lot better this year, maybe than I thought.
Yep.
Because they lost. I mean, you lose so much from what they lost last year, including their coach. But yeah, like Cam said, this was a tough one to pick. I went back and forth on my picks for it.
Westmoreland did have to replace a lot, mainly Cooper White, an all region and all area type player for us at the small class level. Maplewood's defense has been the story just about in all of their important games. You look at their one region loss, 11-8 to White House Heritage.
Mm-hmm.
That type of score could definitely happen in this game as well. But one thing that Westmoreland does return, they lose Cooper White, they lose Cade Perry at quarterback and safety. They return, I believe it was 3 out of 5 up front, and that's really where Westmoreland is winning their football games. They're able to control the line of scrimmage, 3, 4, 5 yards you to death. And Coach Harris, longtime defense coordinator before he's taken the head coaching role, he's always been one of the best defensive coordinators in the area, especially at the small class level. Westmoreland's going to play fundamental defense. It's just a matter of Maplewood has to try to get their guys out in space, which is easier said than done. Special teams could definitely play a factor here. Micah Graves returning kicks. If you're Westmoreland, you got to try to limit that. Westmoreland definitely has a slight advantage in the kicking department. So if it comes down to a field goal, Westmoreland probably has the edge there.
Portland at Beach is another one of those region games, and they're both unbeaten in region play, but Beach has been rolling lately.
Yeah, Green Hill woke up a sleeping giant in Beach apparently because, week 1 was about 2 seasons ago at this point for them.
The coming out party was at Upperman.
Yep.
The coming out party was at Upperman, and they put everybody on notice, and they've not stopped since. They've made the decision to go with Caden Powell at quarterback, to not try to do the 2-quarterback system. We're going to run through your face. And they've been able to do it every game. And 500 yards rushing again, that Gallatin defense is not bad, guys. And a defense coordinator there that knew exactly what Beach was going to do on offense and still couldn't stop it. That tells you just how dominant they are.
Yeah, well, you got Jack Fuchs, London Parks, Hunter Smith, Grady Edwards, Jonas Green, those guys who never get talked about. That's your offensive line right there for Beach. And their offense has been growing exponentially since that week 1 loss. The first 3 weeks, they were scoring in the 20s. The next 2 weeks, they were scoring in the 40s. The next one was 59, and last week was 62. Their offense is just slowly building and getting better every week. And this is despite the loss of Shelton Swafford to injury. I mean, this team – go ahead.
I'd like to think that KJ's apology to them early in the season woke them up. Yeah, no, I really like this Beach team a lot. When it comes, if that quarterfinals game happens, it's going to be very hard to pick.
Yeah,
because right now they've perfected what they wanted to do last year, and offensive line is playing well. Defense is getting better and better each week. And DK, you got to think. We'll talk after the show because we got to put our Mr. Football votes in. DK is playing like a guy that should be considered for Mr. Football, just with what he's done on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and think about this too. This is only like the Henry County game ended up being a no contest, but they played 5 out of their first 7 games on the road. They're at home the rest of the way. That's a big thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
Playing at Shackle Island.
And it's a shame that this isn't the game that we were hoping we would get because of the injuries that Portland has suffered. Portland's a very physical team and lost a key member of possibly their best player last week, Avery Hughes. And, he was just a massive physical presence on the field. And it would have been interesting to see how he matched up with that Beach offensive line. And now it's just, Portland's going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to keep pace. And, I expect them to play well. I just don't know how you stop an offense that is clicking as well as Beach is right now.
And
Yeah, they're going to need
Portland's issue the last couple of weeks is they can't score.
Yep. And especially now that Avery's down, I mean, teams are going to key on stopping the inside run. Keelan Dalton's been battling an ankle injury off and on all season, and he's they're somewhat one-dimensional. If you're able to stop the run, if Portland beats you passing the football, they just beat you. But they want to run the football. They have a Mike Allstott type running back in Sean Sebring. Stop the run between the tackles, and you've got them at your mercy at that point.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's easy to be one-dimensional when you are dominant running the football. I mean, it is when you have those kind of backs back there. I mean, you play to your strength.
It will be interesting to see. We talked about DK Williams. This is one of the things that I'll be watching if I do end up at this game, which I probably won't have a choice at this point. But
yes, we're going to march you there and tie you to the goalpost.
not at 615 Prep's behalf, but with some work
Matt, you heard
things
that
going on. But the wing tee, Portland has run the wing tee to a certain extent, off and on throughout the season. The wing tee is based off of tricking the linebacker, right? You want to show pulling guards to get the linebacker flowing this way and run the ball that way, right? So DK Williams all year has been one of the best linebackers at knifing through those holes when the guard pulls and making the tackle. Will Portland be able to take advantage of his aggressiveness? That's going to also determine a lot on how successful Portland's going to be on offense.
All right, that's going to take us to our spotlight game for the week, and that's Riverdale and Rockville.
Big playoff implications on the line here. Rockville's kind of had a weird year. They started off the year with back-to-back losses. They split their last 4 games, going 2-2 in each. The 2 losses to Smyrna, not a great loss there, and to Oakland. But last week they get the overtime win over Tullahoma. And then Riverdale has just kind of been in cruise control for most of the year. Since that week 3 Blackman loss, they've won every game since then by double digits. So they're gonna roll. And not in this game, but it's a good opportunity for Rockville to make a statement. They just can't turn the ball over. That's kind of been their issue a lot the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Gavin Hampton's been lighting it up all season for Riverdale. He's completing 60% of his passes. He's thrown for 21 touchdowns. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of balance there. But defense has always been their forte. They've only given up double digits 3 times this year, and 20 was in their loss to Knox Catholic, 17 in their loss to Blackman. They did give up 13 in a win against Smyrna. I think their defense is what will be the key to them winning the game. Aiden Emmons is he is just a monster. 50 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 4 interceptions. I mean, the guy's all over the field. But it's going to be really interesting because Rockville does have a potent offense.
Yeah, so I'm gonna look at Jonathan Hamby, the quarterback for Rockville, set school record last year. He was at Blackman last year. The guy, I don't even know if we mentioned him this year, but he's one of the leaders in our area as a receiver in RC Chichia. He's having an outstanding season. He's got over 800 yards receiving, 10 plus touchdowns. He's a threat in the kicking game. He's outstanding. And then you look at Riverdale, and Gavin Hampton has been having a great year. He's got the Corbin Reynolds transfer from Loretto. He's also got Luke Fritch, which is starting to pick up D1 offers as a freshman, slot receiver, and he can absolutely fly. So the weapons are going to be all over the field. Riverdale is one of those teams. They're good this year. They're going to be very good in the years to come, and those matchups with Oakland are going to be extremely fun with Cam Morton versus Gavin Hampton. But this is this year, and Coach Counts in Rockville, they had almost 300 yards passing against Oakland. Oakland's secondary is better than Riverdale's. It's just that simple. Now, did Oakland kind of have an off game? Did they take a night off? Who knows? That kind of things happen occasionally. But RC Chia can take over the game. It's that simple. And this is an intriguing matchup at the jump pad, the launch pad, as they call it, there at Rockville. A win, and Rockville's in. It's that simple.
Yep, exactly. I mean, that locks the rest of the region out as far as playoff spots are concerned. Their only real concern from behind in this region is Smyrna, actually, because Smyrna holds the tiebreaker over the Rockets. But if Rockville can get a win, it doesn't matter. All right. Before we get to some picks, let's talk real quick about the fine at AccuWorks. Water damage. It can be as small as a leaking faucet or as catastrophic as a flood. Regardless of the source, water damage wreaks havoc on your home or business's walls, floors, and furniture, and can lead to mold and other health risks. AccuWorks can start water damage restoration services immediately, removing all potential risks and restoring the affected areas. The experts at AccuWorks will determine the extent of the water damage in your property. We can handle any size of water breach, from a small plumbing malfunction to a major sewage backup or storm flooding. AccuWorks conducts natural water removal from your home using the most advanced equipment and techniques in the industry. And once your property is dry again, our restoration and remediation experts can also repair any lasting damage. There's no need to call another contractor for water damage restoration. AccuWorks handles everything from beginning to end. If you're in Nashville, Clarksville, Cookeville, or areas in between, it's time to call the water damage experts at AccuWorks. Call us now at 615-292-2009 or toll free at 888-779-2228 or visit our website at AccuWorks.com. AccuWorks Restoration, a proud sponsor of Tennessee High School Athletics. And now it's time for Who You Got. Here's how we stand after 9 weeks. Scott, you still with us?
No habla inglés.
Change his language there. Okay.
Whoa. Joe, where did you go?
I took shots. The teams let me down. We literally already went over this. Your Trousdale County hearing didn't apparently take place.
Yeah, I'm just glad to see. Right now, I've got Joe in my sights. If I can get to Joe,
You are
I
10
picked
games
small.
back. Don't get too ahead of yourself.
When I was
I'm 10 games back at you.
when I was rearranging these standings, I almost felt bad, but then I remember the times that he told me I was a bad champion and just said, "Yeah, I don't care."
Yeah.
You are a bad champion.
Well,
Bad.
the biggest
Well,
loser
wait a
from-
minute.
you're the
good
biggest loser from last week, so there you go.
Good
I
champion
was
would be in
gonna
the top 3.
What about a former champion?
Yeah, a good. I will go with Joe on this. A good champion wouldn't have the interns ahead of him.
Well,
Damn.
let's face it. 3 of our
I've
core
also got
4
great
have
equalizer.
interns.
I've also got the great equalizer, so I'm not too upset.
You hush your mouth.
Okay. All right.
Order in the court. Jing, jing, jing.
Hey, no, I'm the judge here. I'm letting it go. All right, on to the picks. Let's start with Antioch and Clarksville. Antioch is the mayor's going to be up there, but we are all back in the Bears this week.
Yeah, it's just hard to pick against Andre Adams and that Antioch Bears offense because they just put up so many points.
I don't know how you do. Go ahead, Scott.
Go ahead.
I don't
No,
know how
I-
I don't know how you defend them. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I say you pick your poison. Neither way's good. You're kind of stuck here. You're going to need Antioch to help you which they've not. Kudos to Coach Broom and Coach Adams. They've not done that. They've not made those mistakes that just backbreakers in close ball games. They've been able to make the clutch plays when they matter, and Clarksville, I think, will be able to score some points here. Antioch has struggled at times against the run this year, but offensively, they're just way too efficient right now to go against.
I mean, honestly, I see Clarksville, running 2 tight end set and, milking the clock every time they have the ball. Just doing whatever they can to keep the Bears off.
If you want to see what Clarksville's going to do, look up 1960s football, and you're going to see what they're going to do. They're going to run the football in about every version of the wing T wishbone that you can imagine.
I mean, that's kind of why I'm not saying much because I still have my Antioch scoring 38, but why I was kind of lower scoring for Antioch. I think Clarksville's offense can run their offense well enough to maybe give the Bears some issues because it's such an unconventional offense. It's something they haven't played against this year. And Clarksville runs it to perfection, but Andre Adams, Brandon Galladay, way too much. And I think Bug has a big game here too.
Especially getting his commitment out of the way, and the first game after that can be a big one. BGA at Good Pasture, we are all taking the Wildcats.
Yeah, I mean, great win last week, but BGA is a different beast.
You're welcome, Coach Turner. He loves being the underdog. Here's a screenshot. I mean, right now, BGA, they've had one bad half of football all year long, and it cost them their perfect record. I just have not seen a team that has shut them down for an entire game yet.
Yeah, it's hard to really go against BGA here, just the way that they're kind of going scorched earth after the FRA loss. Good Pasture, I think, keeps this interesting for a while, but BGA being a really potent offense in the second half may just overwhelm them. What an Independence, and it's the one we were all completely split on.
Yeah, this was the hardest game to pick because I was really impressed with what Indy did last week. But then you look at common opponents, that Shelbyville loss sticks out for Independence where Brentwood's beat them. So I'm going with the Bruins, and I'm not confident with this pick.
What I saw last week at Page really did impress me. When they run a balanced game, when they're balancing their passing and their running game, they're tough to beat. In their 3 victories, they've exceeded 100 yards rushing. Only in the Shelbyville loss did they exceed 100 and lose. So I think Garlington gets it going this week.
Yeah, I think Brentwood, as you mentioned earlier, they've been kind of Jekyll and Hyde on offense. And they've been able to overcome it in some tough games. Franklin had a lead on them last week, and it looked kind of scarce for a little bit, and then they were able to find a way to score 21 points in the second half. And this is a tough game, as Joe said. This is a tough game to pick. I think Brentwood knows what's at stake next week potentially, and they want to make sure that is a region championship game next week. I think Coach Finch is one of the better coaches in the area, and I think he's going to have his guys focused and ready to go. And I look for a field goal to decide the football game.
For me, I mentioned this earlier in the show when we talked about it. Andy's a good first half team. They game plan well to keep themselves within striking distance. My biggest question is, can they finish in the second half? If they can, they'll get out of there with a win. But if they can't, then we're going to have exactly what we're talking about. And Brentwood just might come back in the second half and take it.
Yeah, Indy win here throws everything playoff picture-wise into a mess.
It does at the bottom half of that region, but Brentwood would still have a shot at the region title next week regardless.
Correct.
Because they're both 4-0 at this point. All right. CP8 Knox Catholic. We have all taken the Lions this week.
Yeah, Ross Patterson, big game. EJ Gibson did to Knox Catholic. I think Ross has a big game, and I think Alabama gets the best of Tennessee this week as Owen Cabell gets the win over Tyreek King.
Well, he's going to get the best of Notre Dame too.
I think you're right, Joe. I think the key to this game is going to be Rawls Patterson, but don't be surprised if Jefferson Brinson and Wright Martin don't figure into the mix in this game somehow.
Yeah, I like CPAs. You know, we talked about them in the preseason as one of the better offensive lines in the area. You know, they've struggled at times this year, but they're still in a very, very experienced veteran group. I look for CPA to lean on them this week and for them to show up in a big way.
Knox Catholic is not an easy place to go win either. Other than the McCauley game, they've played well at home this year. They lost to NBA by 3 points, but Catholic has done the job at home, and it's always a tough place to go. I think CPA can get out of there with a win, but it won't be easy for them. Ainsworth and Baylor, and look at KJ going with the Tigers.
Yeah, he's wrong. David Gabriel, Georges, big game. Baylor too good at home.
Yeah, I think Ainsworth's going to use the same recipe they used against McCauley, and I think they are efficient enough on the ground to hang around for a very long time in this football game. Baylor's just going to make too many plays, in my opinion, for Ainsworth to be able to overcome it. We talk about David Gabriel Georges, and he's tremendous. He is. But as Scott mentioned earlier, Briggs Cherry it makes Baylor's offense over the top. What they're able to do, they're very balanced, and they show glimpses, both running and passing, of being elite at doing that, which is, you know, they're in the top 25 in the country for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, your skill position players are, you know, definite D1 talent for. Yeah, you get Briggs Cherry as a Louisville commit. Who knows where Gabriel George is going? Only he does.
Ohio State.
Probably. You know, yeah, it's going to be Ainsworth's going to try to run the ball. Baylor's going to run the ball. I think that's going to be, you know, how both teams are going to go at it. But Baylor, you're right, Cam. They're just so balanced. They're just so well balanced that, and have not shown any sign really of breaking. I just think it's a tall ask for Ainsworth at Baylor.
FRA at Grace Christian, we've all got the Panthers.
Yeah, FRA's defense did concern me. Not sure how healthy they are. I know they had the 2 weeks off, but you know, nagging injuries can be nagging injuries. So I do think Grace Christian could put up some points on them. I just think FRA, they're better than what we saw against Antioch, and they're going to be really upset. So I think Mike Hassel in for a big game, and he continues to make his push for Mr. Football.
Yep, I think Mike Hassel goes for 3 tutties here, and I think FRA kind of does reverse of what they've been doing this season. I think they come out very, very fast early and kind of coast in the second half.
I think Amari Sanders has a big game. This is a team that's averaging over 40 points a game in FRA. And I just don't see anything on the other side that says that they can slow that down, even though I didn't pick that many points. I just if you can't tell, I have to get my picks in before everybody. So
points don't matter, Scott.
I understand that, but I have to get mine in before everybody, since I'm, you know, I don't want to be a sandbagger. So anyway, I just think that FRA is just a little too much for Grace Christian.
Grace got off to a hot start last week, but they weren't able to sustain it after the counter punch. That's going to be the key this week. Can they get off to another good start? And if so, can they build upon it? That's going to be big for them. I just don't know. I think FRA is going to come in here hot and just kind of do what they do. Mm-hmm. Lebanon at Gallatin. We have all taken the Blue Devils.
Gallatin's rush defense concerns me. Giving up as many yards as they did last week and going against a back like Azita this week, that's concerning. And I think Lebanon rides him to a win. and secure second in the region.
Yeah, I just think exactly. It's very, very alarming when you give up that many rushing yards. I know Beach is very good at running football, but it's very alarming from a defensive standpoint. But on the same side of things, Gallatin has a tendency to rebound pretty well in games like this, especially when they see that we all picked Lebanon. They're going to be hungry to prove everybody wrong. I promise you. So, and the Wave Yard is a tough place to play. Coach Strout is going to have that place rocking. And Gallatin Lebanon seems to always play each other really, really tight, no matter what the scenario is. So. This one, I think, comes down to the late fourth quarter, and Lebanon closes it out on the ground.
This was a tough one for me. I went back and forth with it. This is a game that if I could tear myself in two, I'd love to be at this game. I think it's going to be a Zeta, and then every once in a while Harrison's going to get the ball to Juwan Stafford, and that'll be. That's a long threat for them. But I think the Lebanon's defense combined with their ability to run the ball will, spell, a victory for the Blue Devils.
To me, it's more about who bounces back from disappointment better, because Lebanon had that game last week in their pocket and gave it away late. Gallatin got whipped late by Beach, and they lost in two different fashions, but they're still coming off losses. So whoever bounces back from disappointment better, I think, will come out of here with a win of this one. I'm going to go with the Blue Devils simply because of health. And, the quarterback position plays a big role here. Not having Jackson Stroup's a big difference for me.
Yep.
Maplewood at Westmoreland, another one we were heavily split on.
Yeah, like we said earlier, this was a hard one to pick. Maplewood's causing all sorts of chaos, and the way they played White House Heritage was really impressive, even in that loss. And then obviously what they did to Whites Creek. You look at overall body of work, Westmoreland, really good win over a White House team that's not bad. They've won some really impressive games this year. And like I said, they're a lot better than what I thought. And I think they've just run the ball really well in this game. Cam mentioned the offensive line. Got a big back. This kind of tailor-made for Westmoreland to pick up a big region win here, and they would be second in the region?
Be a region championship game next week.
Yeah.
Potentially for Westmoreland.
This is a game. This is one of those games that, again, difficult to pick. Westmoreland, do they have their eyes on next week? I'm not going to say that they do. The thing about Maplewood, and Joe, you brought this up earlier, their defense. They have a senior-heavy defense led by Tom Cartwright, and Mark McCree. I think they have the ability to stop those backs, force turnovers on downs, things of that nature. I think Maplewood's got speed, and I think that right now, I think that they're actually playing pretty well. I'm going with the Panthers.
Yeah, it could be I'd have to look and see, but this could be Maplewood's first ever trip to the Rock Pile, and the Rock Pile is one of those small venues that's very, very hard to play and very uncomfortable from a visiting standpoint if you've never experienced it before. There's about 3.5 yards of out of bounds between the fence and the playing field on the visitor sideline. So not much room over there. So it's extremely tough place to play. The raucous crowd, they always do a good job of getting the crowd going up there. Westmoreland brings a physical brand of football. It's one of those old school, small town, knock the fire out of everybody. It's an event every Friday night when Westmoreland's playing at home, and it's going to be a tall task for Maplewood. But Scott, as you said, they're very athletic, and that tends to give Westmoreland issues at times. Throwing a little shade here, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that the field may be a little wet come Friday night.
First ever meeting between the schools.
Yep. Just about to mention that. Not only their first trip up there, but the first time they played them at all. And neither team can get caught looking ahead for various reasons. Obviously, Westmoreland could still have a shot at the region title. Maplewood with a win would clinch a playoff spot. With a loss, they're facing elimination next week against Stratford.
Mm.
Yep.
So there's a big swing game between both these teams in this one.
Yep.
Portland at Beach. We've all taken the Buccaneers, and I'm sure some Beach fans will be happy about that.
Yeah, Portland can't score, and Beach can score a lot lately.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate that the injury bug has really bit the Panthers. They're going to try to run the ball with Sean Sebring, but Beach is just right now they're rocking at a different level.
They are. Beach is just clicking all over the place, and I've got it a little bit closer than some of these guys, and the reason why is because I know Portland's going to come out and they're going to give everything they have to try to win a region championship. And they're a very senior heavy team. A couple of those guys that are banged up are seniors, unfortunately, which is unfortunate. But they're going to go to Shackle Island and they're going to put their best foot forward and they're going to compete their tails off. I just think Beach is going to be too much.
Yeah, I have to second that. My score might look a little deceiving. It's a 3-score game there. I just think Beach pulls away there in the second half. Be interesting to see how Portland comes out early on and if they can keep pace for a while. But ultimately, the Buccaneers are just playing too well right now for anybody really to keep up with them.
Some scoregami on your end, Chris.
Yeah, high schools can have that times.
Yep.
That brings us to our spotlight game with Riverdale and Rockville. Before we get there, let's see who we have winning this one, Scott.
This week's game of the week is a matchup in Rutherford County between the Rockville Rockets and the Riverdale Warriors. And now it's time to let the cat pick. And here he comes.
Anytime now.
Anytime. Butch is going to make the pick because, well, Sonny's a delinquent child. And Butch has made his pick. Butch has chosen the Warriors from Riverdale.
Yeah, it was Sonny's turn, but Sonny was nowhere to be found. I don't think he's made it in yet.
Joe, have you got anything that you want to show before this week? Keep it family friendly, please.
I don't have anything.
All right, picks then. We're on Riverdale, all of us.
Yeah, Warriors don't pick against Warriors. Give me the Riverdale Warriors by 11.
Yeah, I think Rockville keeps this thing close for a while. They're gonna come out and play really, really hard and try to clinch that playoff spot. Everything is still on the table for them with a loss here. They just need everything to go as expected and nobody pull off an upset or something wild happen for Rockville to potentially get in if they lose this game. But Riverdale is, they've kind of slid under the radar since that Blackman loss, right? Nobody's really talking about them. Guys, the region championship's still on the line for them if they win this one and next week. So it's it actually would throw a 3-way tiebreaker, which would go back to Oakland, but still, bragging rights.
Oakland's sitting pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Both of these offenses are pretty solid. You watch Jonathan Hamby, he's a gunslinger. He basically lets his receivers win the battles. And R.C. Chia is speedy, elusive, and great vision. But I love their tight end, Dallas Paldo. He's a beast of a tight end, 6'6", 240, and flat out runs over people. That being said, their defense doesn't really run over people, and they're susceptible to good passing games, which Riverdale and Gavin Hampton have. And for that reason, I've got to go with the Warriors.
Yeah, I think Rockville does keep this close for a while. It's I think they're maybe a bit of an underrated team at this point in the season where they're playing, but Riverdale's not going to overlook them knowing that Oakland's waiting for them next week. I think Riverdale wants to go in there sharp, and that's why I believe they'll get out of here with a win. And I got them winning by 10.
Yeah, and I think Who's going to be covering this one, Chris? And
It would be, yeah, I'll be there.
so, have you met Coach Counts before?
I've not.
We have our favorite coaches in the area. That dude is intense.
Mhm.
He is intense, and that handshake, you better not. You
Don't
better
go
not.
on weak.
Yeah, do not go in weak. He will rip it off.
Well, I don't, so nothing to worry about there. All right, that's all for the picks this week, guys. One more word before kickoff. Cam, I want you to start.
Yeah, ton on the line this week. There's going to be teams that make the playoffs this week. There's going to be teams that win region championships this week. There's going to be a lot more of the unknown. The one thing that is known, though, is the hourglass is running short on several seniors in our 615 area. Keep that in mind when you're at a football game. Act like an adult. Support those kids. These are memories that they'll have for the rest of their lives. They'll live this for the next 40 years. So enjoy high school football, but remember, it's high school football, and it's their moments, not ours.
That's a little grim, Cam, saying the hourglass is
I
running.
love that.
It's still bored. We had a problem with the latest episode of the Springfield project. So the fifth episode will now be the fourth episode. That fourth episode will be coming out first week of the postseason. So the next episode will be the Greenbrier episode. Game Scott and I will be at Friday night playing for the Pitt Carroll Trophy. Really cool trophy, really cool rivalry. I know Springfield's dominated it. Rivalries are what makes this sport so great. My favorite team got a big rivalry win over the weekend, and it made me feel good. Cam can't relate, but excited to experience Springfield Greenbrier for the first time on Friday, and should have that episode out next week. So everybody stay safe this week and enjoy 2 more weeks of regular season football before we get to the postseason in November.
We've seen a lot of new referees out there this year, and which is a good sign. And it just made me wonder what makes a good referee, or why you want to become a referee in Middle Tennessee. And I came up with 8 reasons why you want to be a ref in Middle Tennessee. First, you get exercise. There's nothing like running up and down the field, chasing the play, making sure the kids are behaving. Think of it as parenting on steroids. And besides, the color, black and the vertical stripes are slimming. You're going to look good doing it. Second, you get to practice your Zen. Being a referee is a great way to learn patience. According to the Zen proverb, a man who is master of patience is a master of everything else. And where else can you practice patience like a Friday night in front of 35-year-old adolescents screaming, "You suck"? 3, you make big-time referee money. High school football referees can make up to 3 figures a game. And when you figure in your gas to and from, let's just say that you'll be able to afford that exquisite fast food burger and supersize your fries. 4, you learn every day from professionals. They just aren't professionals in football. Every play you get to learn why you're wrong, hear about interpretations of the rules that aren't in the rule book, and otherwise discover new swear slang from the high school kids. And maybe, just maybe one day, you'll be able to help them by critiquing their accounting skills. 5, you get to practice gymnastics and flexibility running the sideline. Keeping fit and alert for coaches, kids, fans on the sideline, it's a great way to enhance your peripheral vision and flexibility. When you combine that with the possibility of being run over by a 240-pound linebacker, you have an adrenaline rush like no other. 6, you're the provider of peace. Because of you, parents have someone to blame besides the coach or their own offspring for losses. Who cares if their team jumped offside so much it looked like a live-action game of Frogger? They would have won if you hadn't missed that pass interference call in the first quarter. 7, I said there are 8, and I'm wrong. There's 7. You're called. Officiating is not a job, it's a calling. And after all the above tongue-in-cheek but very real scenarios, you feel the need to ensure that all kids and all teams get an honest break. Do you make mistakes? Sure you do, but you're not perfect. Neither is anybody in the doggone stadium. But when it comes down to it, you're there because it matters to you. And we're glad it does. Because without officials, the game just wouldn't be the same.
Oh, hello. Glad to be back. It's the best nap I've taken since August. All kidding aside, though, that's good stuff. Yeah, Cam said something a minute ago that kind of jogged my memory, and act like adults. And I don't want to end this on a negative note, but I do have to say this, that if there's a question of any of our content, it's always okay to ask. We're happy to answer the question. But the second you come out and start accusing us of this and that or whatever, you lose all credibility with us, first off. Second off, you make yourself look dumb. And third, it makes us not want to cover you as much. I'm just going to be honest about it, because this is not our full-time job. We don't do this for money. We do this to help the kids. That's first and foremost. So the next time I hear an adult coming at us about, why we didn't put a certain player on a graphic or have this or that or picking against somebody else, I might just lose it, because, this isn't my full-time job. It's never going to be. And I enjoy doing it, but that part's unnecessary. And some of y'all need to stop it. Now, I'm off my soapbox for the night, and I want to thank all of you for watching us tonight and every week, as you always do. Glad to have you here on 615 Preps Live, presented by AccuWorks. And as a reminder, 9 o'clock Saturday, the Scoreboard Show, also presented by AccuWorks. We'll come back here about the games, have some highlights, and our usual nonsense. So thanks so much for joining us tonight. For Cam, for Scott, for Joe, I'm Chris. Cam, you got something before you want to go?
Yeah, one other quick thing. We're closing down the home stretch. We need a Coach of the Year sponsor. Super, super cheap. Reach out, 615preps@gmail.com. We will make it happen ASAP. It's super affordable for small businesses. So reach out, and we will make it happen.
Yep.
10-4. All right. Yeah, that's a good way to end it. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you Saturday morning. Enjoy the games this week, and take care.